A very good morning and welcome to another interesting edition of Global Morning Weekend Edition. My name is Ubong Osora, welcoming you to the program, and I have, as usual, Sadia Yakubu, who is here as we call and call this program this morning. A very good morning to you, Sadia.
Good morning, Ubong Osora, and happy weekend. How are you doing? What are your plans? Today is Saturday. Today is weekend.
I wish I had weekends.
You definitely do. Tomorrow is Sunday. Sunday is also part of the weekend, so
it's filled with activities. One, you have to run here, go here, come. So my life is basically filled with activity. You know these things, so don't even pretend as if you don't.
All right, good morning, our viewers, wherever you're watching from. Good morning. My name is Sadia Yakubu, together with my good friend Ubong Osoro, walking you through this segment of weekend edition of our Global Morning.
Absolutely right.
Yes.
Ubong,
right. I don't. If I talk now, you say feminism.
Zamuta or something. But go ahead.
All right. Do you know we have an event?
Right. International Women's Day.
Exactly, and you've not said. And you've not told me Happy Women's Day.
Because I have plans.
No. I don't trust your plans again. I don't trust your plans.
Has it got to that point?
Well, you said you give me Happy Christmas, you give me Happy New Year. Easter is around the corner.
I'm keeping all of it.
The
patience dog.
All right, Happy International Women's Day to
absolutely.
all of us. We women, not you, unless if you are the he for she. Are you
go ahead.
Are you a he for she, or you are just a he?
I mean, go ahead. Go ahead. I wish women. Okay, let me add my voice to all the beautiful women. Truth is, I have a lot of women in my life
Definitely.
that are very dear to me, and I've had friends that are women over the years, and they've been amazing, from family, friends, relationship, and all of that.
Relationship guru, Ubong Osoro.
So women are actually amazing, right? And congratulations to all the women. Sorry, being a woman in Africa is more daunting and more challenging because of what you have to go through. But I see all of the days these women keep pushing. I see, using you as an example, I see too many times they wake up by 4 a.m. just to get to do a job. Yeah. I see how you go home late, right? And that is not just about you, it's about millions of women around Nigeria. Yeah. Some wake up to go to the farm, some you see women put their babies on their back. So women are the drivers of our wheels of production and economy significantly, because at the middle point of production, you see most women pushing that process, processing the plants, food, whatever you want to talk about. So markets, right? So anything production, you have 80%. Sadly, we still have limitation as to women rising to the top of their careers in Nigeria and Africa. But we're seeing the trend changing. Most of the big banks now have women as MDs and all of that, right? So congratulations to Sadia Yakubu and to all of the other women. We love you, and we'll keep wishing you well. As for the things we'll promise you, keep faith with us. If we don't give you today, we'll give you tomorrow.
Please, as they are celebrating us, help us also communicate with your fellow gender, that is male gender, not those that are beating women. I'm talking about the women beater, talking about those that feels a woman shouldn't be here, women should remain in the kitchen, a woman should not raise her voice, a woman should, whatever. If a woman, for example, something happened last week on social media, all right, we have some men that they feel like every woman out there working, trying to meet ends need for herself, they label her, permit me to use this word, prostitute. So long as you're not married but you're a woman, or you are married but you're trying to provide for yourself, they still label you as with such name. They believe you shouldn't come out to work. They have this ideology of restricting women to the kitchen. Women are meant to be at home, wash dishes, prepare food, take care of the babies, take care of the husband, and then forgetting herself. Forgetting that if this woman is empowered, if she's empowered, she could help you as a man. This woman would help you financially, emotionally. She will be there for you. She will be like a mother to you. But then no, we still have this group of individuals that still feel that no, women shouldn't be given the voice, a platform. Just women at home, and then they start labeling, calling them all sorts of names. And sometimes if I come across that, I don't feel good.
Right, that's a very sad narrative, but truly, we've seen such scenarios, right, time and time again, and I feel sad, but we can change the narrative, right? And
yeah, I pray so.
Yeah, with teaching our brothers, teaching those who are close to us, not accepting that labeling. And for me, I don't have any problem with women advancing their careers. Of course they should. I don't even feel that you should go to school and come back and, so why did you go to school, right? You should be able to practice. There should be fairness, right? A subjection or submission does not mean loss of self. You're still your person and all of that. So I think it's a mindset, and it's sad that some persons still have this mind. Some of them even educated people.
Yeah, very educated people, but they still go down to this level. I think it's among the challenges that we women are facing politically. You can't contest as a woman. They will frustrate you. Your gender will so much frustrate her.
But even the women are not supporting.
I'm coming. Just give me
what has my gender done this morning?
Just give me a few minutes.
Right, go ahead.
You know, when your gender feels a woman is also coming out to contest for a certain position with them, they feel like, I'm a man. She's not supposed to contest. Let her go back and mobilize women or mobilize people to vote for me. I understand that, yes, we have same women going to campaign for these men rather than campaigning for their gender, the women. All right. But then, what about those men now coming out to campaign against the woman, that she's not supposed to come out vie for any position, she should go back home? They believe that if a woman is contesting, she has ulterior motive.
It's sad that those narratives are pushed. But
yesterday that I went to Ministry of Women Affairs, Minister for Labour State, she said she contested 4 times, 4 good times. She kept pushing. She don't want to share her own part of the story. Right. She don't want to spoil the atmosphere for that yesterday. But she begins to narrate what she went through, the audit she went through. It wasn't an easy one. So if this could happen to someone like that, it could happen to anyone. Right.
I'm not saying that those challenges are not there. In our society, it would be foolhardy to say it's not there. It's there, it's existing. But I think the positives that we can look at is that we are now having women who are breaking that glass ceiling.
Yes.
And we have a lot of men who are also as supportive to women to see them break that glass ceiling. Right. And with time, we've had 3 women who've been deputy governors in Nigeria. We've not yet had a woman as a deputy governor, as a governor yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day we'll get that. We'll have various women as senators, women in the House of Representatives, women as commissioners. So I think the only political position that we've not seen women mostly is governorship, because we are still a very patriarchal society as to leadership, then presidency. But it's a gradual process, and we'll get there. We've had women as acting governors, right? But we've not had any woman win an election yet in Nigeria. But our neighboring countries have had presidents like Sierra Leone and the rest of them, Tanzania. We've had women as presidents, so I believe that we'll get there. It's a gradual process.
All right, let's quickly go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll come back with our newspaper review. Don't go nowhere. Stay connected.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, welcome back from that short break. Before we went on the break, I said we'll be coming back with a newspaper review. We'll be telling you the happenings in the country and outside. So, Ubong Usoro, our first newspaper for today is
the Vanguard newspaper.
The Vanguard newspaper. So, we'll walk you through.
All right, so the lead story on the Vanguard says Iran behind terrorism in Nigeria, Israeli ambassador. That story is on page 10. It says it is well documented that the Islamic movement of Nigeria is backed by the Iranian regime to sponsor Hamas, Hezbollah, and other terror groups. It's mere propaganda. Iran fires back. A war of words between Israel and Iran. That story is on page 10.
All right, the next story, NDDC has transitioned from transaction to transformation of Bukum. Tinubu inaugurates Committee on Grid Asset Management (COI), and that's on page 23 and page 6 of Saturday Vanguard.
Amaechi's house attacked, ADC office set ablaze is on page number 4. Rivers is the headlines, and just under that we have U.S.-Iran war. Oil marketers raise pump price to 1,100 per litre. The story is on page 6 of the newspaper.
All right. Federal government panel confirms ex-minister forged UNN certificate. That's on page 8. Muyiwa Adetiba on page 24.
Why Nigeria is in a mess. It's coming from Professor Pat Utomi on page number 13. It says our judiciary is dead and buried. It says we're better off without 2027 poll if, no matter how long, INEC official will go to jail over 2023 polls. Tinubu once said, don't vote for me if I don't fix power in my first term. Some of the underlines on that particular story.
All right, and this one is coming from our First Lady, in person of
Oluremi Tinubu.
Yeah, Oluremi Tinubu, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. She said, in 40 years of our marriage, we have never raised a voice at each other. Says, if you don't fear God, my relationship with you won't work. And that's on page 6 of Saturday Vanguard.
That's very sweet.
Yeah,
right?
from a wife to a husband. And,
right.
you know, some places, some people will not accept their kind of marriage. A Christian marrying a Muslim.
Right.
And he still allowed her to practice her religion. He's not saying you must change. No, don't convert. Just be a good wife. And she's saying, all right, I'm willing and ready to walk this journey with you. So do yours, I'll do mine.
And
I think for her to come out openly, publicly with this, I think it's a good testament.
Well, I think this is a family that people can look up to because they've showed perseverance. They've also showed love and courage. It's not easy.
It's not easy at all. I understand they have challenges, but they still fought to be together.
To stay together.
Yeah, so I pray and wish other people will look out and do the same method. So moving away from that story.
Okay, another story.
Terrorists.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Terrorists kills 20 in Benue, kidnapped 10 in Kwara, hours after Borno blood both page 7.
All right, so that's the last story we take on the Vanguard. Let's go to the Guardian newspaper this morning. The lead story says food inflation fears resonate over Middle East crisis. There's a scale where the Naira is there and some food packs, and the Naira wearing in that scale to that food pack. I know you can see the picture. But on the right that says US-Israel/Iran war could reverse Nigeria's inflation gains, experts. Importers decry higher freight cost. Budget revenue gets boost as oil prices soar.
All right. Commuters decry 13% BRT fare hike amid overcrowding, delays, poor services. Lagos Live, page 5 of The Guardian.
Leah Sharibu, forgotten in the wilderness. That's the story on the back page of The Guardian this morning.
Alleged 8.7 billion naira fraud. Malamison operated Rayan Hotel account, EFCC witness. Page 3 of The Guardian.
Right. How proliferation of non-viable airports drains public resources. That's a special report on The Guardian newspaper.
All right. Tinubu condemns Boko Haram attack in Borno as NAF. Airstrikes kill 50 terrorists. That's the Air Force, Nigerian Air Force.
Right.
That's on page 78 or 76, Ubom.
Yeah, 76.
All right, of The Guardian newspaper.
Finally, Tinubu releases ambassadorial posting. Names envoy to Israel, post Fani Kayode to Germany, and Reno Omokri to Mexico.
I would have loved Reno Omokri to go to Iran. I would have loved him to be posted to it. And let's see, maybe if he can mediate for us there.
You know his mediation skills.
Because he's always mediating on social media. He's always doing that on social media. So maybe he could do for us. All right, moving away from that.
I've been posting about Reno.
All right. Stranded power. Tinubu inaugurates committee on grid asset management company. And that's on page 3.
Nigerian oil grade hits $90 per barrel, push earnings to 186.3 billion daily. This is good for our country. More refineries shut down. China halts petrol exports. Europe jostle for fuel.
All right, so I think that's what you can take from The Guardian newspaper, the weekend edition. And our next newspaper is Saturday Telegraph.
All right, so take the lead story.
How lure of monetization drives content creators to extremes, on page 28 and 29.
All right, on the right of that story says there's something, go ahead. Gen Z's, I think it starts talking about Gen Z's.
Yeah, I say Gen Z's working ball, smashing everything in sight, says Anyoku. Anyoku, it's the fall of morals, values, and diminishing of our humanity.
Right, because we don't have the time, but we know that people are now doing anything possible just to get views.
Yeah, and that's why he said howler of monetization drives content creators to extremes.
Last week we saw a woman come out to say she was raped and all of that.
Was it last week or last month?
Yeah, last month.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it wasn't true, just to get content. And we see a lot of people lie, a lot of people
just for content, just to get content. You know, monetization, once your page is monetized, you start doing things. We have instances where women will come out and maybe they'll use maybe towel or wrapper, sit in the car, and then kind of open her body and then close it immediately. Just content, just to get followers, just to get paid. So I don't know. We have other things you can do aside from either lying or coming out naked on social media because you just want to get monetized, get paid, get followers, let people like, have you heard about this person? Have you heard about this person? If you're creating a good content, you hardly get followers. That's just the ideologies of all these social media content creators. Once you're good, your content is good, you're not exposing your body or doing another thing outside the culture, Nigerian culture or black man culture, all right, you won't get followers. So once you're doing some nasty stuff, that's where you get followers. So both the content creators, both the followers, I think the government should look into their issue, because if you as a content creator, you're creating content that maybe you're showing parts of your body or you're doing another thing outside and you don't have followers, you would get tired and stop. You'll be like, people don't like what I'm doing then. But once you start getting followers, people keep following you. Some people are in your DMs, hello, hi. You feel, no, I need to do more. Before you know, you start deviating. Start thinking of creating another content that will make people follow you more, so that the more you get followers, the more you get paid.
Right, absolutely, right.
So that's the problem.
It's sad that this is where we are today. But let's take other stories this morning from the Telegram newspaper. Hours after a Chief of Army Staff visit, herdsmen killed 16 in Benue community. Troops fell multiple Boko Haram attacks in Borno community. It's on page 5 and page 7 of the newspaper. All
right. Tinubu approves posting of 31 career, 34 non-career ambassadors.
Yakubu Muhammad's son, despite being illiterate, my grandfather gave that pain to pursue journalism and career. As career says, how hard they use good to describe people, but my dad was.
All right, alleged 54.5 billion fraud. Emefiele's co-accused admits lying in EFCC statement, and that's on page 2 or 3, Ubong.
Right,
page
that's
3.
Page 3 of the newspaper. IGP appointments, Police Service Commission promotes 7 AIGs to DIGs. It's on page 2 of the newspaper.
So I think that's all right. We have one about what Nigeria must do to minimize shocks, maximize gain. Oil price near $100 per barrel. Dangote refinery hikes full Ganti price to 995 naira. Nigerians should build local confidence, play more mediatory role. Akinyemi, federal government should engage more with Nigerians to do the likely religious crisis, says Igali.
All right, so let's take the Independent newspaper now. Lead story says, Nigerian brands, customer service high on promise, low on delivery.
Escalating Middle East conflict triggers global security alert, and that's on page 30.
Medical Council suspends 3 doctors following the death of Chimamanda Adichie's son. It's on page 19.
All right, Anyoku warns international communities will closely monitor 2027 elections at Awolowo lecture on page 3.
Honors petition governors at Biodo over strict WAEC registration policies. It's on page 4 of the newspaper.
All right, so I think that's all we can take.
All right, so okay. Let me take my last story. It says, APC must adopt Lagos transition model, says Nigeria Progressive relies on strong subnational government. And is that the last newspaper we have?
We have the Tribune, Saturday Tribune, which is the last.
All right, let's take the Tribune.
All right. The Tribune, Anyoko tells the federal government, INEC, the world is watching you. Over 2027 poll. Votes buying culture can't produce good leadership. Prof. Adebangui, our legacies remain benchmark for good governance. Tinubu, page 4.
All right, so Tinubu inaugurates committee on GAMGO to unlock stranded power. It's on page 18 of the newspaper.
All right, Awolowo Dosunmu announces our foundation's Future Leaders Fellowship. That's on page 4 as well.
Lokbori hails resolution of OPL 245 disputes. Is on page 18 of the newspaper.
Ambassadors, Tinubu posts Ajimobi's wife to Austria, Jimo to UN.
All right, where is the signed Electoral Act 2026? Governor Makinde asks federal government.
All right, Iran traders close shops in Kano over fear of attacks. Sokoto tightens security, and that's on page 5. 16 killed, several missing in fresh Benue attack, and that's on page 6.
All right, so for me, I think that's all that I have this morning.
Yeah, that's all we have this morning. And in case you're interested in any of the headlines, you can quickly grab a copy of any of the Daily Tribune, Independent. Just get any of them, and then you walk yourself through any of the informations.
All right, absolutely amazing. We'll be right back after this. We had a prior interview with our people as we talked about Africa in this age and time. We'll be right back for that segment. Stay with us. Where we get to look at discussions that could actually help us as a people promote what we are doing, make our continents better as Africans and Nigerians, make our country better. Of recent, we've seen Africa has been making strides in different facets in technology. Our fintechs are taking over the world, especially we've seen some Nigeria fintechs doing very well, and even some South African company that have become conglomerates, and a lot of persons are looking at Africa as the rising continent. Today on the program, we'll look at Africa's growth, Africa's rising impact on global development. And I have joining me in the studio two gentlemen who's done a lot of work around Africa, Success Bright, who is the chairman of the Focus Africa, and we also have Mr. Chukwuma Nkaha, who is an executive director with Focus Africa. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Success Bright is a culture enthusiast, while Chukwuma is African tourism promoter. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Africa, a lot of talks about Africa now. Our musics are streaming very well, getting into top 10 Spotify ranking or worldwide YouTube ranking. Our movies are not also doing that badly. We've seen our actors, being invited to act in Nollywood movies. And it seems Africa is actually doing well, except for the fact that there's still a lot of finance gaps, and we still do a lot of borrowing to fund major infrastructural projects. Let me start with you, Mr. Chukwuma. When you look at Africa and you look at the work you do at Success Africa, what comes to your mind at first?
Well, I see Africa rising. I see a reawakening of the gender especially the feminine gender. A lot of things come with Africa. There are some negativity attached in a lot of cultures. And I think with the globalization that is taking place today, Africa is beginning to realize that perhaps the reason Africa is regarded as a third world country is because most of the women have been relegated to the background. And the objective of Focus Africa is actually to show that the women actually are part and parcel of the developmental agenda of the entire globalization. Women play a lot of role. So with or without the cultural, should I say, cultural restrictions that kind of place a woman in a particular box, okay, people are beginning to realize that that box is actually the major constraint that is retarding the progress of Africa. Women have an equal opportunity to contribute as much as the male gender of the populace, African population. So the realization of that is actually the beginning of the involvement of Africa in the globalization agenda of the entire world. So I guess
Africa Rising and
Africa Rising, yes. Africa can't rise without carrying everybody along. Gender, there should be gender equality.
Sadly, we don't have any woman on the table this morning. Let me come to you, Mr. Success. You've done a lot of work around promoting the continent, telling people about the continent. What are some of those things that you can readily tell people that this is what is happening in Africa, and these are the good things going on? Because I've seen situations where people say Africa is a dark continent, that if you look at the satellite at night, a lot of places in Africa remains very dark because no electricity. So, and the media, Western media, the narrative is Africa is a place of suffering, of pain, and that. But how do you draw your messages and rewrite that history?
Yeah, the good news is that we are no longer there. So we are no longer talking about potentials for Africa. We're talking about progress. And progress can be measured whether it's accelerating or we are moving at a snail speed. But we've moved from where we used to be. And if you critically look at our sectors, there's a big strategic shift from where we used to be to things being done innovatively. There's digital transformation. There's a whole lot of things happening along the economies in Africa that shows that we're moving very forward. So earlier in your introduction, you mentioned the fintechs, a whole lot that are happening in that sector right now. So last time I was here on the show, I mentioned that some of the fintech companies are now having national licenses to operate, and that's a big, big plus for our economy. So our financial trajectories are all looking up, and then you look at our manufacturing sector, they are all doing well. So yeah, we have some challenges, but looking forward, I'm an advocate of progress. I'm an advocate of how things can work instead of just looking at the problem all the time. So I think in Africa, we're doing well. So what we need now is not just policies. Yeah, policies are good, but we need platforms, we need people. People and platforms are what is going to make all of these things prosper, not just policies, because I believe there has to be a handshake between government and the people, government and private sector organizations to move our economics to where we want it to be.
All right, so let's talk about that platform. I'll come to you, Mr. Chukwuma. Yeah. One of the issues that we've noticed over the years has been the issue of funding. I've seen a lot of concept notes, and even if you go online and just browse proposals for developing of Africa, you see a lot of them. A lot of Africans have designed solutions, both from the academic to different sectors. But the recurring decimal to our lack of growth has always been funding. What do you tell somebody who wants to make an investment in Africa but is thinking, yeah, I could have 80%, how do you raise the counterpart funding, looking at the bottlenecks that is around, at doing business in Africa?
Before I go there, we need to acknowledge the fact that women are facing a lot of challenges, especially with limitations to like in some places, let's look at this country, there are some places where women are disinherited. They don't have access to land. So these are some of the constraints. We'll continue to have this problem until we begin to rule out gender disparities. Because there's a lot of distrust. You know, sometimes you say women are supposed to be relegated or confined into some specific areas of existence of the society, of the home. To me, that looks like a distraction. It looks like a degradation. It looks like a withdrawal from development. So it's actually a big problem. Access to funding, access to land, they're not even allowed to make decisions. There's an issue. There's one particular development. When a woman wanted to be a president, you understand? At the end of the day, she scored just minimal votes because people didn't trust.
With Sarah Jibril, she got 1 vote, but there were many women there. Right.
And you can imagine that she was surrounded by her family members.
And even
you see how close that is?
Even other women.
And even friends. But she only voted for herself. So I think we need to move forward. There's a need for us to actually look beyond the cultural restrictions and limitations. By the time we begin to realize that for us to get to the El Dorado in terms of even the fourth industrial revolution, is also the way we interpret that is also leaving the women behind. Now there's a need for women to make progress in terms of infrastructure, in terms of professions, career development. In fact, education is also one of the major things we feel that should have looked at it from a neutral point of view. But we see a lot of discrimination in the educational sector, even in admissions. So I think we have a lot of work to do in reorientating the mindset of the system to begin to view women as equal partners in the journey towards development in all its ramifications, from economic development to political development to whatever it is. Women should be given an equal role to play. And with that, once we have been able to come to terms with the fact that women are equal, once we come, then all of this will be behind us. There'll be little recourse to gender. So I think we should just push gender aside. And I still keep saying it, that what we are out to do is actually to recognize the importance of women in the society.
That's at Focus Africa.
Yes. We are trying to remove the barriers, collapse the demarcations, and then give them a sense of belonging, give them a sense of pride. Because first and foremost, they are, should I say, I'm just speaking off the cuff anyway, women are actually responsible for what we are, what we become today. Look at it from the biological point of view. I was telling somebody that who complained about their child not being smart. I said, if the person is not smart, it means that, oh no, it was actually that the child was smart. And because the child was smart, the child was a carbon copy of him. So I told him in the chromosomes that make up the human being, the male have XY chromosomes. And it's inside the X chromosome that we have the gene for intelligence. And the woman has double of it. So your child is bright because of your wife.
Right.
So we got to realize that.
Those are conversations that some persons will want to argue. But Mr. Bright, I want to ask you now, you've been around for quite a while. You've seen the challenges that faces, especially young people. He spoke about women. But I like that we widen the gap now and look at young people in general in Nigeria, in Somalia, in all of these countries, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Botswana, trying to eke out a living, become an entrepreneur, the challenges that they face. So when you relate with these people, and sometimes you've lived through these realities, how do you message them and tell them that there are opportunities? Because we see the number of people wanting to leave Nigeria. Somebody said something funny the other day. Say if you take a statistics of people between the ages of 18 to 45, 5 of them, if they have opportunities today, will leave the shores of the continent.
Well, the statistics, anyway, so a lot is going on, right? A lot is going on. But I'm also a young person. I do business in Africa, and by the grace of God, our organization is in 29 countries today. Started off 7 years ago, and we gave ourselves targets. Yes, there are challenges, but we can also surmount these challenges. Now, I'll start by telling you that there are a lot of fundings available for business startups and for expansion, but the value you put on the table is what determines if you're going to have access to these funds or not. When we, January this year at Focus Africa, we decided to raise some capital for our businesses. And, we actually decided to approach individuals, not the banks, not the corporate outfit. So we approached some individuals, okay, we need social funding to, expand the scope of what we are doing, and we got the funds. These are from individuals. So there are a lot of people that have money across Africa that also want to invest in meaningful things, but they won't give you their money if they're not seeing value. So enough of the complaints about what is not working. There are still things that are working in this country, in Africa by extension, that we can be part of. So we have a lot of people in those countries that you mentioned, because remember we're in 29 countries that will interface with and talk with every day. So most of them are getting funding from different organizations, NGOs, US government, even from their own country. There's Tony Lumelu is doing his bid, Mo Ibrahim. There are a whole lot of people that if they're not giving you fund, they train you to be able to access those opportunities. So yes, the problems are there, but there are still opportunities. There are many, many ways you can raise capital to do businesses. It doesn't have to be also borrowing. You can do joint venture partnerships. You can also look at someone who have similar ideas with yours and collaborate with the person. The person brings the office space, you bring the expertise you have, and then you put things together and you're able to start a business. I remember when we started Focus Africa, we didn't have bulk money kept anywhere, but we identified that we needed people. So when I go to conferences to speak, I tell them that you need an idea first. You need people and you need money. When your idea is right, people will buy into your ideas. And when people buy into your ideas, they bring money and you're able to run businesses. So what has been our major challenge, especially the young people, is that we sit down and we don't make a move because we don't have money. So what happens is that we now blame our uncle, we blame our government, we blame every other person other than us, other than sitting down and say, okay, what can I do first to even start up? So money is not everything that you need, but we have made money everything. There are ideas that I can sell to you, you will like it, you will give me your last box for us to start off. So I want people to start thinking outside the box now to say, how do I move from here to the next place before all of the funds that I need comes? I was having a conversation with one of my friends recently. The person wanted to take an office space, and she feels that taking this office space is going to boom her business. I say, no, you're going to tie down the little capital you have in the office. And you just see people walk on the road, you think they're all working customers. When you set up the shop, you know that they are going somewhere else. They are not looking for your shop. So by the time the rent is expiring, you are looking for where to borrow money to pay for the next one. So we need to get our priorities right. That first priority is not having all the money you need. Money is important for startup. Money is important to move, but at least move first.
Right, the money
things will align.
Right, so I'll come to you. I'd like to ask about the fact, Mr. Success has highlighted, Chukwuma, some of the things about you can move first and money will come. Do we have an ignorance problem? Because somebody was saying that there are many things we don't teach you at the universities in Africa. Nobody taught us savings in university, at least as a general course. For somebody who maybe you studied, who mastered communication, the whole essence of your time in school, 4 or 5 years, depending on how you were able to go through, was communication, people in engineering. But when you come to the real life, you need to know savings, you need to know investments, you need to know most of those things. Maybe they were taught at elementary levels, but at a time where you need these things practically, you see a lot of persons lack the skill. So do we have an ignorance problem where people do not know where to go? Because he's mentioned a lot of things and said, okay, Tony Elumelu Foundation is there, Mo Ibrahim, but how many persons even have this knowledge that these facilities are available?
Yeah, I'm going to take a cue from where I'm coming from, where we have been looking at the aspect of economic development that goes beyond the buying and selling. By the way, what are you buying and what are you selling? Those are commodities and products. So the lack of knowledge is actually not restricted to one person alone. It's actually a systemic thing in the sense that if people know what they will do with what they have, okay, then there won't be so much desperation in the society. But looking at, like I said, like I mentioned, where I'm coming from, I believe in value addition. Like if you have your cassava, for instance, you're a cassava farmer. The issue now is that you can farm so much cassava and there will be a glut. The reason there will be a glut is because people don't know what to do with the cassava apart from the gari they process. But you know, you can take cassava, process it into cassava, which is common. You can subject it to further processing. You come up with what they call flour, high quality cassava flour, which of course, you know, is used in the manufacture of medicaments that contains the active ingredient. You can subject it to further treatment. You come up with your ethanol. From there, you have your animal feed and stuff. And these are small industries. If you take your palm fruit, for instance, you can also process it into detergent. You can process it into butter. You can process it into so many things. You take the kernel, crack it, squeeze it, you can process it into oleoresin. I mean, you can process it into glycerin, that use gel and all stuff. So these are some of it. You can imagine if somebody is taking up that, you see the value chain involved. These are ideas. These are industries. These are franchises. These are markets
in the value chain.
So the reason we have this depth of ideas is because everybody's just thinking in one way. And the problem we've had in the past is the fact that they've not been building enterprises. The only enterprise we have is that of buying and selling. So, but what are you buying and selling? If the day we begin to appreciate and look critically into the materials we have, and also imagine that we can use what we have, like he said, and get many more products and many more values, then of course the days of indolence and idleness will cease. Do you understand? Most nations pride themselves in having what you call raw materials, but that doesn't make them great.
Yeah, raw material. You could, some countries have to buy the processed goods for finished product at the end of the day.
So it is inside the processing that you bring the businesses out.
There's more money in processing.
The startups will come in for taking it from point A to point B to point C to the final product when you now begin to sell it across the counter.
That's what I asked. Is it an ignorance problem?
I'm telling you.
Knowledge gap.
It's actually a knowledge gap in one way.
It's a knowledge gap.
The other part is the application of even what you know, like you were saying. So a lot of us, I take myself for instance, sometimes you go to surf the internet, there are things you see, you now convince yourself that this is not for me. It's meant for people. Like even if I go for this, I will not get it. This happened when there was nicer loan disbursement. So people just will tell you that federal government, they will give it to one section of the country. We will never get access to this thing and all of. So they convince themselves because they are from other part of the country, they feel are marginalized. But day in, day out, you see people apply and get it. So there are people who don't have the knowledge. It's a knowledge gap. There are other people that know that these things are here, but they are not able to pursue it, to appropriate it. So they just let it go because in their mindset they believe that this is not meant for us.
Right. So I've looked at some of the work you've done over the years, from Kigali to different countries, and now you are heading to Qatar. I'm seeing 5,000 seed fund, tech seed fund for women and entrepreneurs. Walk us through the process as to the vision of and why Qatar? Qatar is an Africa. Focus Africa should be an African company. So why Qatar?
You know, last year we went to the United Kingdom. We went to London last year. London is not Africa. But the thing
London
is,
has a lot of Africans. I know
just
London.
the same way Middle East have Africans. In fact, there's no way you go to you will not see Africans. So what we are trying to do at the second stage of our project is to reach out to Africans in diaspora. So we've been talking a lot about FDIs and all of that.
Foreign direct investments.
So there are people in diaspora that we also want to encourage to send back their funds to Africa and build systems. So we have an ecosystem that actually brings a lot of things together. We bring policymakers, business people, so in extension, people in diaspora, whether they're working or they're doing businesses. So the idea is to create a handshake that helps development in Africa. So we've gone to 17 countries in Africa. Then last year we decided to do a global conference in London, and this year we said, okay, let's even go to Middle East and talk to a lot of people. You already know there are a lot of businesses that are doing well in the Dubais, in Qatar, in Oman. There are heavy people in the gold industry, in tourism, and a whole lot of things. So we are targeting people in that place, and then to further the conversations we have that changes the narratives around things. The first part for me is that is explained earlier is not just about the policies, about having people, platforms, and partnerships. Then the second part of it for us at Focus Africa is to help change the narratives. So there are a lot of ways that Africa have been viewed that we're using the instrument of the Focus Africa platform to change. So we're going into countries and we look at what the countries are doing, and then we expose our own people to it, to go through their, like one of the major things we want to do in Qatar is to lead our people to go through their SME projects, go through whatever they are doing that is making the destination of the world right now.
More like a knowledge transfer process.
Yes, whatever you are doing and you're not going to Dubai, from around the world. I don't know. So they are building tech industries, they are building
skyscrapers,
they are building real estate, they are into many things that is making Middle East now the darling of the whole
tourism,
world.
right.
Of course, you saw how Trump went to the Saudi Arabia, Qatar.
The kind of reception you got.
Right. So we want to give our people that experiences. So, he is a woman advocate now from the conversations we having from the word go.
He for she.
He for she. So we're taking a lot of women from Africa to Qatar from April 27th to 1st May, to go through all of these processes of knowledge transfer, studying businesses. Then we do proper conferences on leadership, tech innovation, and at the end of that conference, we want to launch a $5 million tech fund for women, specifically for women. We're coming for other people. So why this is important for us is that in the last 3 years, we've given out hundreds of millions to women in Nigeria to start up businesses or to expand what they are doing. We have all of the documents.
I followed some.
And those women are doing very well, employing extra people right now, and that is a good achievement for us. But we want to take it up higher to set up that fund that empowers more women in over 29 countries where we operate, so that those who have businesses that run on tech, that are affiliated, that have their platforms on driven by technology, can have access to these funds and be able to operate.
Mr. I'll come to you now. Let's look at, you've talked about the knowledge transfer, research, and all of that. But one of the other problems that we've had people say about Africa as a whole is that there are basic things that we do not have. For instance, electricity has to help people to do business, and that becomes a major challenge. I've talked about transportation system. So if I am a foreigner, maybe I'm from a country, I was hearing a story the other day, a child that has never seen a blackout before came to Lagos, and one of those days, the power ceased, and the child started crying, "Mommy, I'm blind." The mom said, "What happened?" They just say, you know, so when the power came up, I just say, what happened? So we have these systemic, you know, issues. So if we are bringing people to Africa, are they not also going to see these issues that we have? We still have huts in Africa. There are villages like you go there, there's no network, you know. So yes, I know that you are, the team is saying, oh, let's project Africa in the right light, which I'm all in for it. But the issues that we have in Africa that are peculiar, electricity is not there, roads are bad. For instance, in Nigeria, there's kidnapping. How are you throwing away the messaging, or are you just showing only the positive side? You know, someone was saying, just do the positive and leave the negative.
Well, I got you are saying this the way you're saying it. You've already answered the question.
No, I don't know. I've not answered the question.
Because what do you expect me to say? As a PR person, there's what we call planned truth, orchestrated information. So if you have an objective, what is your objective for actually reaching out in the first place? You want people to come to you? Fine, you got to bring out the best of you. And it's the more you bring the best of you together to project or to sell to the outside world, the more recognition you get, the more respect you get. You can't continue to wash your dirty linens in public. There's nobody without a dirty linen. So where you wash it and how you manage your dirty linen is where the issue is. A lot of these people you have mentioned, they all started from somewhere. In fact, let me even take you to facts. When you talk about threshold, how did it even come out? Threshold is where, in those ancient days, okay, they dump a lot of things. People will dump a lot of things. Anything they don't have, they just throw it at the threshold. When you say he has crossed the threshold. Then when you talk about raining cats and dogs, from what I read it up somewhere, it's because when they have pets in their houses, and during that, most of the pets sleep on top of the roof. So when the rain becomes a deluge, those pets will begin to fall into the house. Do you understand? So there is a time those systems or countries you're talking about were in their dark ages. Do you understand? So I will always tell you that Rome was not built in a day. And the beginning of the end is when you recognize that you need to move. So right now we have realized that we need to move. We need to join the rest of Committee of Nations to make this world a better place. And there are so many things we have to let go, which is what we are doing in different ways. Our approaches are not the same, but we're all headed to one particular direction, which is a developed society, a developed system that carries everybody along, that recognizes the importance and contributions of everybody, irrespective of gender. So we don't have to continue to peddle negative stories all over the place. And in fact, we are better than a lot of nations. We are better than a lot of countries. The only thing is we have not been able to package our success stories in such a way that it will attract the right type of recognition and attention.
Africa is better than a lot of continents. We have 7 continents. Which of the continents are we better?
I know, I'm talking about, we are better than a lot of some continents. In terms of, let me look at it now. It's in terms of
don't worry, let me not put you on the spot.
No, I'm already on the spot. I'm already on the spot. But I'm telling you, I'm not being euphemistic. I'm trying to tell you that, do you know during the COVID, we had a lot of things which we didn't plan for that worked in our favor. We had the sunshine. We had a lot of systems. Most of the time, that COVID-19 was like something that wiped out a significant percentage of the world population. But we didn't feel that much. Do you understand? In terms of the way we approach things. Do you understand? So we have a lot of things to sell to the world. We have a lot of systems. By the way, they say a lot of science is emanated from Africa. So what I'm trying to say is being able to recognize your successes and putting them together. People can see that and learn from it. And those who learn from it may decide not to let you know that they are learning from you. They continue to encourage you to speak negatively of your system. So that is the way I look at it.
All right. Mr. Success, I'd like to ask, one of the strengths that people have mentioned about Africa is the fact that Africa has a very youthful population. And this youthful population equals industry, equals commerce, equals business, because these are the people that could do a lot of activities. We already know that some continents or some countries are depending on Africa for healthcare professionals at the time, and and even some other things. Our population is growing, and some people, their population is dwindling, or it has paused in the last 10, 20 years. So how do we make the most of this teeming population that we have? In Nigeria alone, more than 220 million people or thereabouts.
Yes, a huge population in Africa, in Nigeria, in Kenya can be a very big blessing and can be a curse at the same time. It all depends on how we manage and harness this population that we have. On the last time we were here on the interview, I did mention that for us to properly harmonize, for us to properly get the best of our population, we need to put systems in place to, harmonize what they have, for the benefit of the country. Now, good a thing, the population we have are not docile people. In Nigeria particularly, the population of young people we have, 80% of them are very knowledgeable, very intelligent. You can see all of that. And when it comes to skit making, you can see all of that when you come to digital business spaces. You can see the transformation in, when a young person wants to do farming, he goes to the farm, and the next thing you see it on the internet, they do different things. So we are very brilliant people. Now, where the problem is that our youth population have been neglected so much that we remember them during elections. And there's been a lot of revolts going on around the world. In Kenya, about 2 years ago, you saw the uprising, led predominantly by young people. So we had people who work at Focus Africa in Kenya who were just practically begging them not to get involved in burning cars on the streets and the whole. And they were very serious about reclaiming their country. And this happened here too during what happened some years ago in Lagos predominantly and a whole lot of places. So this is a sign that if we don't do anything about our youth population, we're going to have a problem. So what are the steps we take? Let's put in place good systems that will help young people. It includes funding, includes mentorship, includes putting them in national programs that recognizes the efforts of young people. Today, I don't know who is the Minister of Youth in Nigeria. I don't know how old the person is. Yeah, okay, so there was the lady that was pretty young. That is a minister. I don't know if she's... Yeah, so we have a few young people now in this government that let's give young people more stakes deciding how we run our own affairs in this country, So let's put system, let's put funding in place, let's put policies that help young people, do well in society. Let's then provide mentorship for them also, so that it's not when you give somebody fund and you run off and use it and do other things. So I believe that if the youth population we have are properly managed, we're going to have accelerated growth in almost all the sectors where they are involved.
All right, so I'd like to ask you now, we've seen Focus Africa touring countries, and now it seems women is, a very critical factor. But primarily, we know Africa is a patriarchy. Africa used to operate, more of a patriarchal system. We had the women in the wheels of production. In fact, the women have always been the one running production, a majority. But the men make the decisions and give the direction. Are you seeing a change in that kind of system? Already we have women who are heads of multinationals now in Africa. So some persons have said it's not a problem about the system. It's a problem even about the women, because narratives have come. How many of the women support their fellow women? So in a more holistic view, how are you hoping to change the narrative?
Okay, so I see that there is a uprising once again in that regard, because women are hosting or holding down a lot of multinationals, a lot of corporations in the private sector. They are into a lot of sectors, doing a lot of magic in their own turf. And I want to see a system that gives them more room to do more, because in the past we've seen a lot of marginalization. But women are actually unique, because if you look at most of the corporations that they had, there is that focus and direction of purpose, which characterizes whatever they do, even though sometimes you could say that they could be slightly stringent in their ways of doing this thing. But I believe that once we are able to put the women in the right places without discrimination, we're going to see a lot of changes for the better in all the systems. And I see that we are doing quite well, because if you say a number of countries have women as presidents and prime ministers, and I remember when Margaret Thatcher was the prime minister of Great Britain, there was a lot of activities. There was a lot of change of orientation for the better. And I know that in other countries too, we have women. Even in Africa, we have a woman that's a president. Zambia, where? Tanzania, yeah. So she's doing quite a lot, and I believe that that should spread, and it's a culture and a system we should try to emulate in this country. We need to give more women seats in the parliament. We need to allow more women room to express themselves, because they are actually the major source of influence we have. Even at those times we see that men are doing a lot of things. When they go back home, they still carry over whatever events transpired at home and bring it out to the public domain.
Right.
So women should be given opportunities to actually participate in nation building, given access to education and healthcare and entrepreneurship. And they are playing a lot of roles in all of these sectors too. From then, even defense and all aspects of our walk of life, women are playing a major role. So we should give them a lot of encouragement and give them platforms to try, which is what we are trying to do in Focus Africa.
Right. Mr. Success, I'd like to ask you about the political view, because I've seen your interaction with some of the persons who have the levers of politics to push through some of these things. We know that the political will is very important to be able to push through the right framework to highlight these things. Do you think that the current leadership in Africa has that political will to push the continent forward? At different times we've heard where we say Afrocentric vision. Some leaders have come out to say, I am pro-African in nature. Let everything resolve about Africa be about Africa, and different philosophies of governance. But in your interaction, in your thinking, do you think the current crop of African leaders have the will to push Africa to the forefront?
I think we can achieve this if we have functional regional bodies like the African Union. The last time I checked, I don't know how functional the chef, because we don't have a unified system that is driving it when it comes to the having different presidents in Africa come together to decide on what to do. So today we have the issue of climate change. Tomorrow we have a different discussion. So, I think that we should have a unified voice, regional voice that drives Africa's leadership forward. So that we don't see people acting in isolation. Today we are talking about the electoral reform in Nigeria. Tomorrow we are talking about agricultural revolution in Kenya. All of these things are isolated in different bits and pieces in different places. But if I want to give you an assessment, we have a long way to go. But I admire the East Africa region, EAC. So the likes of Rwanda, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, they're doing quite a lot in their region. I've been in Rwanda for a long time, studied their trade system and all of that. There's a big, beautiful road they built from Nairobi to Tanzania, giving a huge access to free flow of food and people, goods and services and all of that. So we want to see all of that also happen in other parts of Africa where you have a serious border issues, border crisis. You can't even move from Nigeria to Cameroon with your eyes closed. So you're always on alert. You don't know what's going to happen. So all of these things are impacting leadership development in Africa. So there should be a unified regional discussion on how to develop Africa. Now, if we're able to achieve that, we are going to cut down on the influence the likes of France have in some countries in Africa. The likes of Russia have it. You know, so today we have some of these countries outside Africa manipulating us, telling us what to do and what not.
Economic policies, monetary policies.
We are still under their influence. You know, I even heard one time that you just have to borrow. You have to borrow from the likes of China and the rest to stay their friends and all of that. So we need to come to a point where we have to decide that Africa's development is a priority for us.
All right, so as we are trying to end the program now, I'll come to you, Mr. Nkaha. The last thoughts on the program, you've said Africa rising. Truly, is Africa rising?
I think it is. It is.
So there's hope for Africa?
Yes. They said the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step.
Is this step, has this step not been
otherwise
for too long?
Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you something. If you don't think we are making progress, look around you. Your station is also a sign that we're making progress.
These are individual. These are individual.
Yeah, but of course they gave you the enabling environment to
Africa
to
gave us an enabling environment.
Yes, and then you're also reaching out to a lot of people
absolutely
through the channels provided by the system. So we are making.
Absolutely, I agree with that because our broadband is getting better, and we've also made progress internet-wise and everything. Thank you so much, Mr. Success Bright. We wish you all of the best as you keep going around the world, telling people all about Africa. And when you get to Qatar, tell them that, of course, you have to tell them about Global TV in Qatar.
We are actually inviting your organization to join us.
We'll talk about that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. And that's the size of this particular segment of the show. The show continues after now. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe. Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables, better than the best.
All right, welcome back from that short break and the other segment for Ubong Usara. Tomorrow is International Women's Day 2026. It's celebrated, like International Women's Day is celebrated every year, March 8th, every year. It is a global day dedicated to recognizing the achievements of women, raising awareness about gender equality and encouraging support for women's rights and opportunities. The theme for 2026, the theme for this year is Give to Gain. The theme encourages people, organizations, and government to invest in women and girls. The idea is that women are supported with education, opportunities, and leadership roles. Society as a whole benefits. And you know, when you educate a woman, you educate the entire society. So the purpose of the day, that is the purpose of International Women's Day, aims to celebrate the socio-economic, cultural, and political achievements of women, to promote gender equality, encourage empowerment of women and girls, raise awareness about challenges women still face. Yeah, you and I know that we still have some challenges that we women do go through. How it's celebrated. People around the world celebrate the day through speeches and educational programs, drama, cultural performances, awards recognizing successful women, campaigns promoting women's rights. Now, the key message of International Women's Day for this year is supporting women leads to progress for everyone. International Women's Day, like I stated earlier, is celebrated every March 8th of every year. And this day has, it has history. It's not like it's starting today or we are just celebrating Women's Day today. No, it's something that has, that is in process, that people are still celebrating from dated back till now and tomorrow as well. Like, I don't mean tomorrow Sunday, like forever and ever until the end of the world. We recognize women's achievement, we praise women, we thank women for being there for you, and I. Now, we have some men who feel, or some people rather, who feel women should not be given too much chance or opportunity. You know, a woman beated you, like she gave birth to you, you're going to marry a woman, you have kids, ladies like women, girl child, they will grow and become a woman. All right, so you still father women, girl child, you still father women. So if you feel are not giving a woman opportunity to serve or go to school, educating a woman is not like you're doing her a favor. It's her responsibility. Like, it's what you should do for her. It's a must. You must educate a woman. It's not like you're giving her free. No, that's her rights. You must educate a woman. So when you educate a woman, you educate a whole society. Stop being mean to women. Today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, every day is our day. So long as the country, the nation, the world is concerned, women are being celebrated every day, not necessarily on the 8th of March of every year. Yes, and like I said, give to gain is the theme for this year. So the more you empower women, if you try and empower women, so long as you're not there, she would be there. She wouldn't have to start waiting for you to do things that she could do. So long as you've empowered her, she knows what to do. At the center of every decision, a woman is always there. So please treat a woman right. And to all the women around the world, happy International Women's Day. I am a woman. I am also celebrating this day. And I wish all of us a brief good celebration. So quickly, let's take a brief history. 1908, women workers protested in New York for better working conditions and voting rights. We have a 1910 activist, Clara Zetkin, suggested the idea of an International Women's Day. So you see, this day we are celebrating March 8th every year. The origin, it started from 1910. Activist Clara Zetkin suggested the idea of an International Women's Day celebration. So you see, 1911, the first International Women's Day celebration were held in several countries, whereas 1975, the United Nations officially recognized the day. So this is how the celebration has been so far. People celebrate International Women's Day, like I stated earlier, through speeches and educational programs, drama, poetry. It's a day to relax. It's a day to share and show love. So happy International Women's Day to all the women in the world. I believe my colleague Anita Patrick and Mukhtar Kasim will do justice to this very day celebration tomorrow. All right, don't go nowhere. Stay back as I go on a short break and come back. And when I come back, we'll talk about hygiene with my guest.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build our nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Good morning once again and welcome to Global Morning, Global Television Abuja, the place where stories come alive, ideas spark, and the moments that matter take center stage. I am Sadia Yakubu, and I'll be your host for the next few minutes. DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channels 276. You can also watch on YouTube using at Global TV Engine. On this segment of the program, we'll be talking about menstrual health and hygiene. Menstrual health and hygiene, MHH, refers to the proper management of menstruation in a safe, clean, and dignified way. It involves access to menstrual products, clean water, sanitation facilities, and accurate information about menstruation. Menstruation is a natural biological process in which the lining of the uterus sheds the eggs the body through the vagina. It usually occurs monthly in females of reproductive age and typically lasts 3 to 7 days. Now let's talk about the key aspect of menstrual hygiene. All right, use clean water, menstrual products. Individuals should use safe menstrual materials such as sanitary pads, tampons, menstrual cups, or clean reusable clothes. These products should be changed regularly, like every 4 to 6 hours to prevent infection. Personal hygiene, washing the genital area with clean water and mild soap helps maintain hygiene during menstruation. Hands should also be washed properly before and after changing menstrual products. Access to sanitation facilities, proper toilets, clean water disposal systems are necessary for maintaining menstrual hygiene and comfort as well. Proper disposal of menstrual waste. Used sanitary products should be wrapped and disposed of in waste bins, all right, to maintain environmental cleanliness and prevent health risk. Education and awareness, accurate information about menstruation helps reduce the stigma and embarrassment associated with periods. Education also encourages healthy menstrual practices. Then we'll talk about the importance of menstrual health and hygiene, prevent infection and reproductive health program, promotes dignity and confidence among girls and women, reduces school absenteeism among girls, encourages healthy attitude towards menstruation. I won't be doing this alone. I have Adedeji Oluwadari Adegoroye, Executive Director, VV, focused on menstrual health and sexual health as well. Menstrual health and sexual health. So he is a social, I hope I'm correct this time around. All right, good morning, Adegoroye. And he's also a cybersecurity and communication expert. I'm forgetting that part. Good morning, and how is Port Harcourt?
Port Harcourt is okay. The sun is shining, and I'm enjoying it until the rain returns. So that's great.
All right. So let's start basic and general questions as usual. All right.
Yeah.
What is menstruation?
So menstruation is a natural bodily function that women experience once they get to the reproductive age. And it's totally natural, totally okay. And it's something that is important for childbirth. It is the creation of the eggs, which now go through a cycle. The body holds it for a few days. And then when the body doesn't get fertilized, the next thing is that the eggs then go through degradation and they are disposed of for a new egg to take its place. So the process whereby the egg is being degraded is called menstruation in general. So for ladies who are seeing it for the first time, it's called menarche. And we celebrate all the young ladies who see their first period, or the menarche as it's called.
All right, so what is meant by menstrual health and hygiene? You know, menstruation differs, the health and hygiene differs. So can you please explain that?
So when it comes to menstrual health and hygiene, it's very important to know that there are some practices that have been handed out or handed down over the generations, and it is something that needs to be fine-tuned. I remember when we had some discussions some years ago with a few people, we realized that people are still far behind on menstrual health hygiene practices. Menstrual hygiene has to do with what you do during your menstruation, keeping your hands clean, making sure that you're not infected, using proper menstrual products, pads, tampons, menstrual cups, reusable pads, etc., etc. So that has to do with the hygiene, making sure that you're neat, making sure that you're clean, and making sure that you're okay. Menstrual health has to do with the actual menstrual flow. How healthy are you? Do you have strong discharges? Is it having a particular smell to it? Is the color proper? Because you have different color codes for menstrual health and menstrual wellness. So that's basically what it is. What do you do during your menstruation? And I think as we go on, we'll talk about a few things that people do that are probably not proper, and a few things that people also believe that are improper as well. So I'll just highlight one of which is some people feel that if they don't see their menstruation for maybe a month or two, they might be pregnant. And so many people panic. You even see people who are, especially the young ones, who are not seeing their menstruation as they should, and because of improper guidance, they fall into either negative hands or negative crowds due to misinformation. So it's very important to keep yourself abreast and your family abreast when it comes to menstrual health and hygiene.
All right, so at what age does menstruation usually begin?
In the olden days, we had people start as late as maybe 13, 14. But then nowadays, you can have ladies as young as 9, 10 menstruate or have their first menstruation. at a very early age.
How long does a normal menstruation cycle last?
Okay, so it lasts between, I think, about 7 to 8 days, which is about a week. But then some people have longer menstrual flows. We also have some people, we have different types of menstruation. We have the heavy flow, we have the light flow, and depending on your body physique, it comes. Some people have light flow at the beginning and then heavy as it goes on, and some people have heavy at the beginning and maybe lighter as it gets to the end of the menstruation. Some people have heavy flow throughout, and you need to know your body type. You probably also have to check with your family, your mothers, your grandmothers, your aunties, to be able to also understand what kind of flow you have in your family.
All right. Why is menstrual hygiene important for girls and women? Why is menstrual hygiene important for girls and women?
So when it comes to menstrual, it is very important because, first of all, it's your health. It's as important as your mental health, it's as important as your physical health. It's something that can really affect how you perform, how you live life on a daily. Now, it's very important because when it comes to menstrual hygiene, the wrong products can actually cause you a lot of harm and can actually cause you a lot of financial harm as well. So let me give you an example. Some people on their menstruation, they tend to use, if you're privileged enough to have enough money, many people use pads, but then some people in some rural areas, even people in urban areas, may not know the importance or may not be privileged enough to be able to use menstrual pads. I had a discussion with a lady once when we were talking about menstrual health, and she actually even informed me that some of her friends use things like tissue paper or rags. And actually, in fact, I'll just give you like a little bit of like a background of why I actually got into menstrual health. I think this was several years ago. One of my close friends, I would say my bestie, as you say, I didn't see her for like about 2 weeks. And I had been calling, I hadn't been able to get hers. And I had to, I was in university then, and I had to then trek to look for where she lives. And I was able to pinpoint her new apartment. Now, when I got there, I found out that she was not feeling very strong, but she was taking care of her 2 younger brothers. And the little money she had spent it on pads, and she actually had heavy flow that particular time. I think due to maybe, should I say, poor hygiene or exposure. And she was bleeding for almost 2 weeks, which is above the normal menstrual flow timeline in terms of days. And when I got there, she actually then opened up that the reason why she hasn't been available is because she had to choose between her menstrual health, which is buying menstrual products and medication, and choose between that and feeding her younger brothers and paying the light bills. So at a point in time, she had to switch to using tissue. The tissue finished, she had to switch to clothes. So it's something that she didn't know what to do. Because she didn't have much money, she couldn't really go to the hospital again. And she just had to just like wing it and hope that everything turns out fine. So menstrual health is important because if you do not have proper menstrual health, you don't wash properly, you don't use clean water, some of these things can actually affect you over time. Menstrual health also goes beyond actually the menstrual hygiene because it depends on what you're eating, it depends on your sleep and so many other factors. Sometimes what you eat may actually affect you, not immediately, maybe years after. And we see that, I think, in terms of the increase in so many women having cysts and other related menstrual challenges. I actually have a lot of women who message me, some friends, they'd be like, oh, I haven't seen my period. I went to the hospital. Maybe I've been bleeding continuously for more than the expected number of days, and it's heavy. And when they go, they find out that they have cysts. And because we do not have so much information on, or should I say, our health system doesn't have so much backlog in terms of maybe observing the patient's history, some of these things just come as a surprise. And so I've seen a lot of people coming up, especially recently with cysts. Possibly one or two people who are actually there with you in the studio may actually be experiencing cyst, which is more of like a growth and which causes many of the eggs to actually mature ahead of time, and then it causes heavy flow of blood. So these are some of the things that people overlook, and it's very important because it's as little as what you eat, what you do, how you clean yourself, and the products that you use. It may even be that you're actually on point in all regards, but then the pad that you use might not actually be standard enough, and you might actually have some challenges, which now causes you to have menstrual health challenges in terms of your health. So it's very important to note. So when I actually saw this, I was really taken aback, and I thought, why don't I do something relating to menstrual health to try and raise the awareness? I'm actually big on advocating for different aspects of human life in order to raise the living standards of human life. So this is one of the things that actually drive me.
Very much, Ade. Let's talk about awareness and knowledge. What are the common menstrual hygiene products used by women and girls? Even though I know, yes, you've spoken little about some of these things. I want us to get more insights.
Okay. So menstrual products that women make use of include the most common menstrual product is a menstrual pad. I think most people know pads, including men. They know about menstrual pads because it's on our shelves in the stores, etc. And at least I believe everybody was born by a woman, unless there are men that were born by men. But that being said, we have menstrual pads, we have tampons. So tampons are like little cotton sticks that you can stick inside, which also is, some people prefer that. We also have reusable pads, which are like the disposable pads. And we also have menstrual cups. So menstrual cups is something that also has a bit of a controversy around, because many people actually feel, just like tampons, having to have it inserted inside might prove to be a challenge for many people. But menstrual cups are there as well. And then other menstrual products include things like wipes, which are necessary, especially if you're going out and you have to use a public restroom. We also have things like cotton wool, even though it's not recommended, but I do know a few people who have explained to me the importance of using clean cotton wool, that's pharmacy grade cotton wool. And although that's not recommended, but then those are some of the items people utilize in terms of menstrual essentials.
So how often should sanitary pads or tampons be changed during menstruation?
Okay, so basically it depends, like I said, on your flow. Different ladies have different flow. We have those who are heavy flow, and we have those who are light flow. Basically, I think even if you're light flow, the tendency is that you might tend to forget to change because you're not having so much blood coming out. You might, and if you're busy, maybe you're at work or you are doing something that's time consuming, you might actually forget to change. But then basically, if you're a heavy flow, I don't think anybody will need to remind you. I think in a few 1 or 2 hours, maybe 5 hours, you might need to change your pad regularly. But if you're a light flow, I think you should be able to change your pad 2-3 times a day to avoid menstrual health challenges. I'll share 2 quick stories. The first one is I was talking to one of our partners who's a supplier for menstrual cups in Asia, in Thailand. And she, I think around that was like about 2 or 3 years ago, she was talking about the use of menstrual cups. And we had a meeting with our team, and she was explaining the fact that so many people run away from menstrual cups, but it's actually something that has taken an upbeat in places that are more modern or places like Asia. And we were like, okay, what if somebody gets stuck and things like that? We crushed a lot of those myths. But then she now told us a story of how important the menstrual cup is. She says that somebody even forgot her menstrual cup was in her for about a few days, and she now had a kind of like shock where she even had to pass out because of the blood. So it's possible that it's possible that if you do not change your menstrual products regularly, you can actually have, because of the blood coagulation and all of that, can actually cause infection. So it's very important to change your menstrual products as often as possible, if possible, 2-3 times or more a day.
Common misconceptions about menstruation.
Okay. So one of the common misconceptions about menstruation is that it is dirty or it is not hygienic. So I think most people tend to fear menstruation in terms of the blood that's coming out, both men and women. There are women who don't want to look at their pads when they are bleeding, and it's totally understandable. One of the most common menstrual health misconception is that if you haven't seen your period for, let's say, more than a month, when it's due, that means you're pregnant or you have done something bad. Especially in today's climate, I think that's a very, very serious misconception, because it doesn't matter if it actually matters, but it doesn't insinuate that you are actually doing something bad just because you haven't seen your period. And young girls are seeing it more often than before, where they don't see regular flow of their period. If you haven't seen your period for a month or a few days past your actual time, you can actually go to the hospital to get checked. Like I mentioned, there are things like cysts, there are things like hormonal imbalances that can actually cause you not to see your menstrual flow for a particular number of days. And it may just be stress. It might actually be changing weather, changing water. There are different things that might actually cause it. So the reason why I said you should go to the hospital is because if you talk to the wrong person, I remember there was a volunteer right now. She's actually in the UK. She told me a story once when we were on an outreach about her baby girl, or should I say her niece. So her niece called her because she's very free to talk to her niece. And her niece also feels free talking to her. Her niece said that, "Auntie, I don't really know what to do." She's scared because she was talking to her classmates, and her classmates, she hasn't seen her period. And some of them haven't seen their period because they were very young girls. And one of them was telling them that if they go allow a man touch them, that's the only way they can see their period. And she was alarmed. She told her niece not to do that. And she explained to her some of the reasons why, as a young lady, she may have not seen her period at the age of 10 or 11. Now, these are some of the misconceptions because without proper information, some of these young ladies or even matured people tend to fall into the wrong hands. So these are some of the things that are actually scary. Another misconception is that menstruation is dirty. It's not at all. It's just blood coming out of the system. So once you keep yourself clean, you're good to go. Another common misconception is that if you use a tampon or a menstrual cup, it disvirgins you. That is not true. In fact, even without using it, you might actually lose the hymen, which is or the covering in the vagina, which shows that you're a virgin. So these are some of the things that are common misconceptions as well. And one more that I'll mention is that some people feel that when they are on their period, they can't get pregnant. Some people feel that if they're already pregnant, they can't see their period. These are some of the things that people think that are actually misconceptions, because even if you're on your period, if you're fertilized and the semen is actually still there, you can actually still get pregnant. I don't know if there are any other ones that you know. Perhaps maybe you can give us one or two that you know as well. And then because you as a lady, you know, most ladies have information which has been passed down to them over time. And it's quite interesting because some of them are myths. They're not actually true. So I'm actually curious to know if there's any that you know about or you've heard about.
Ade, you've said it all. Those are the ones I know. The thought or thinking of you not getting pregnant if you're menstruating, and then you being pregnant and not menstruating, and then a man holding your hand, you get pregnant. My mom told me that while I was growing as a child. So when I got to realize that it was just her own way of making me to be safe out there, I was like, wow, this woman is intelligent. So you see, most of us grew up like that. Our parents, our mom will tell you, don't allow a man touch your head, don't allow a man hold your hand. If he does or if they do, you get pregnant. And if by mistake the man just touch your head or hand, you start crying that, yeah, I'm pregnant. pregnant. So most of us grew up like this, and I want to believe it's still ongoing. All right, so thank you very much, Ade, for that explanation. Then we'll move to the next question. What physical and emotional changes may occur during menstruation?
So the physical, mental challenges, changes that come up are very, very vast. Everybody has it different. There are some women who are blessed. They don't have any issues. They don't have any changes. They don't have any deviation from their daily lives. So in terms of that, I think that those women are very few, but they are the blessed. I would say they are the blessed people on earth. Then we have women who have mood swings, which is very common. We also have things like depression. We have things like exhaustion. And then some people actually have it very bad. I have a friend who, when she's on her menstrual flow, she actually can't go anywhere. She has to lie down. She's in pain, and the flow is heavy. But once it's done, she's back to her lively self. So those are one of the things that might happen. So one of the things that might happen is some people actually lose a lot of blood, and so they actually have to be taken to the hospital but those are extreme cases where they have to go to the hospital for blood transfusion or medication to be able to survive the whole thing. Now, in terms of other things that happen besides mood swings and the things that I've mentioned, you might also feel fatigued. You might have an increase in hunger, and then you might also have an increase in your sexual drive. For those who are also sexually active, you also have, even if you're not, sometimes you might actually have a lot of emotional outpour. So you might actually get angry quickly, you might actually get sadder quickly, and some of these things actually happen, and it's actually very normal. So it's very important for guys to be interested, or should I say involved in things like this. If not, you wouldn't understand why some things are happening around you. Remember growing up, I've been exposed to so many of these things, but then growing up, I actually had to explain to some of my friends why some things are happening, because you'll be gisting with maybe a young lady or maybe an older person, and today you guys are good. And next week when you come, she's very hot-tempered, and many of them don't understand what's going on. They'll be confused. I had to explain to them that the reason why it might be that maybe the hormonal change, it may not even be that they're menstruating, but then we have different phases of the menstrual cycle, from ovulation to the actual flow. So these things actually might mess with the mood of the person who is experiencing them. I think growing up, I had to ask my mom, because at a point in time as a teenager, my youngest sister just my younger sister is the kind of person that I might say, baby girl, please can you help me sweep my room? Or please can you help me run an errand? And she'll be like, yes, and she's cool. But then at a particular age and at a particular time, I was like, please can you help me run this errand? And she'll be like, can't you run it yourself? Why am I always sending her? And she just blew up, and I was confused. I was like, is she growing wings? What is really going on? And I had to call my mother and be like, what's going on? Is it that I left the house for a few days and things have changed? What's going on? And she had to let me know that, okay, my sister is now actually turning into a lady. She's seen her menstruation, and sometimes her mood might actually swing, or she might actually be very irritable. So I had to now understand that, okay, this is something that happens. And this was several years ago. And I'm sure if she's watching this, she'll probably smile or laugh about it. But then I've been working with her to educate people on some of the effects or some of the things that you need to do relating to menstrual health and hygiene. So it's very important to also understand that. So men also need to understand that women might also face some challenges like acne. We have physical changes that come about, like having pimples on the face or acne. We also have maybe skin reactions around the whole body. And some of these things are actually normal. So if you're experiencing any of these things, it's perfectly normal.
and safety. Now, what
Sorry.
health problems can result from poor menstrual hygiene?
There are many. But then one of the things that is really common is that you might actually get infections, might be as little as yeast infections, it might be more serious like blood infection. And that's why I was mentioning changing your pad as regularly as possible. It can cause you to have blood infection. Some of the infections also include maybe things like other infections that might actually cause you to actually fall sick. So that's why it's important to keep yourself clean, use clean water, and so on. Now, some people also tend to want to use one of the myths and one of the challenges that we actually face is that some people have been told that they need to use maybe soap to clean their private parts when they are, whether they are menstruating or not. But then I'll say that's not the case. Some people also use cleaning agents. Excuse me. Some people use cleaning agents, some of these other mixes. I think recently on TikTok, I saw one where I think Apoko Doctor actually mentioned, I shared it on his page, where they were using honey and lime to clean the vagina and make it tight and healthy. But then he explained some of the challenges of that. That's, first of all, you're killing the natural mucus. God is very beautiful and wonderful because he made the body be able to repair itself. All you need for your vagina is just water. Once you wash yourself regularly, at least 2, 3, or 4 times a day, that solves it. And some of these things might seem common, but not everybody knows. Personally, I think I remember a few years ago when we were with Strong Women International, we went to the prisons. And I think this year again, we are going to the prisons. Last few years, it was Pad to Prisons where we went to talk about menstrual health. But this year, we are talking about Skill to Prison, where we are not only talking about menstrual health and other health factors that are important, like mental health, but then we're trying to teach them how to do things that will give them skills. It's very important because some of these women also don't understand the importance of having skills. So in case you're interested in joining on that, that'll be interesting. You can also go look for them, Strong Women Network. But then when it comes to as a woman, even you who are listening, when it comes to some of the things that you need to do on your menstruation, I think it's just basically clean up as regularly as possible to avoid some of these challenges. One of the challenges that people also face, because in Nigeria here, some places don't have running water or clean water. So they face the challenge of actually cleaning well, and so they don't get infected. I would once more advise that you might get baby wipes, so that way, whenever you use the toilet or you have to change your pad, you're able to clean your hand with sanitizer and then use the wipes to clean up downstairs before you either change your pad or put on a new one, basically.
Maintain proper hygiene during their menstrual period, girls or women.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said, how can girls maintain proper hygiene during menstrual period?
Okay. So I think that's what I was just talking about. I touched on that a little bit. Cleaning your hands regularly, washing your hands with soap, and using things like sanitary wipes to be able to, there are different types of sanitary wipes, and that's why I specified baby wipes, because some people use facial wipes which are not proper. So you can use baby wipes, and that is also at least healthy to a level. And then washing regularly with clean water, that helps. Whenever you pee, just run clean water, you're good to go. One of the things also you can do is to eat things that are also very helpful, things that are rich in fibers, and stay away from processed sugars. And that also includes increases the cramps that you have over time. Living a very healthy lifestyle, eating properly, resting properly, and all in all, just making sure that you are radiant and beautiful.
Advantages of using sanitary pads, menstrual cups, or reusable cloth pads.
Sorry, I didn't get that. The first.
I said, what are the advantages of using sanitary pads, menstrual cups, or reusable cloth pads?
So if you're going to use disposable pads, I think that's one of the best options. And that's what I advocate for the most, because even as a man, I think men are provided disposable condoms. I don't think any man would want to use a reusable condom personally. But disposable pads are, I think, high on my list and on most women's lists. Then we also have what we call reusable pads. Reusable pads come with the challenge of actually keeping it clean. So we have different organizations that are trying to create reusable pads that dry easily and clean themselves if possible. I think with some kind of technology behind it to make sure that it's always clean. But then reusable pads are there. But if you're going to use a reusable pad, just make sure you wash it as regularly as possible. You make sure that you make sure it's dry, it's sun dried, so that it can any germs or anything that's not supposed to be on it can be killed. Then we have tampons, which are like disposable pads. They're also okay. But most people, because of personal preference, they do not prefer it. We also have my top option for sustainability, which is menstrual cups. But for younger ladies who are just, maybe those who have just experienced their menarche, it might be something that is quite difficult for them to use. But menstrual cups are actually very, very efficient. You can walk around with it. And the only time that you actually have to now remember to remove it, because you don't have leaks or spills once you know how to use it properly. So you can actually set a timer on your phone that reminds you every few hours to go to the toilet and dispose of the blood that has gathered, but then it's one of the perfect options. Some of the challenges of using a menstrual cup include actually having to make sure that your hands are clean before you actually put it in or take it out, and making sure that you store it properly whenever it's not in use, and before you use it, you actually you clean it properly. I think most menstrual cups come with instructions, but I think that once you are supposed to use it, once you know you want to use it, the first step is to boil it in hot water to make sure that it's clean, and then you rinse it with clean cold water before you then insert it inside. So those are some of the, when I say on a scale of preference, I think I'll put it as disposable menstrual pads, then tampons, menstrual cups before reusable menstrual pads.
So from your own part, what have you done so far to help young girls or upcoming girls in terms of educating them about menstrual health hygiene?
Okay, so I would say, first of all, I'm part of an organization called VV, Love and Live, which is a menstrual, mental, and sexual health organization focused on educating the public. So we have done several school outreaches in Abuja, Kefi, and then we also educate people regularly on our Instagram, even though we haven't done that in quite a minute. But then we have doctors come on board to answer questions from the general public. People talk about maybe their own personal experiences. Mothers share what information they have to also help the younger ones know what to do when they're seeing their menstruation. And we have also been part of the, what do you call it? Federal Ministry of Women Affairs body. We actually are working with a lot of wonderful organizations, Strong Women, Yagazi Foundation, and so many more. And we have different outreaches to different communities, secondary schools. And even this year, we are planning some wonderful things for the Menstrual Health and Hygiene Day. We also have a few things coming up. I think tomorrow is International Women's Day. Shout out to all of you strong women who are doing wonderful things where you are. But these are some of the things that we have done over time. One of the things that I really am interested in pushing is what we do at the end of the year, which is called the Charity for Humanity, where we share menstrual products with the general public. Some people may feel like as though it is something that is not important, but it's actually something that's important, because even if you have, it looks like you have money, some people may not actually be able to afford the menstrual products, even as the prices continue to increase. So these are just a few of the things that we have been doing. And I think this year we are going to the prisons in Kefi to also show them some love, you know. Those are some of the things that we're doing.
for being part of the program today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being
All
here.
right, so as we wrap up today's episode of the program, I want to sincerely appreciate Adedeji Oluwadare Adegoroye for being part of the program, Global Morning on Global Television Weekend Edition. I want to also thank everyone, those that watched it online, TV, wherever you are from your various locations. I want to say thank you very, very much. Thank you for spending your time with us, and hope you would enjoy every bit of the discussion. Menstrual health and hygiene are essential for the well-being, health and empowerment of girls and women. Providing education, sanitary products and proper sanitation facilities helps ensure that menstruation is managed safely with dignity. My name is Sadia Yakubu. I'm saying thank you so much for being part of our program. And then I'll leave you with sporting activity.